Time now, 16 minutes past 8. We're talking about Christmas, the time of year that family, friends get together. So for some, though, it can be a lonely time.
Yeah, the figures are remarkable. It's thought around 300,000 elderly people will be spending tomorrow, Christmas Day, on their own, and many of them won't see any relatives at all over the entire festive period.
John Maguire is at a pub in Bristol for us, and there they're preparing a special lunch. They're bringing people together, and they're certainly making the most of the festive spirit, beautiful tree, and some gorgeous young voices as well.
Those gorgeous young voices now belong to the Bristol Youth Choir. They're doing a wonderful job entertaining us all here this morning. We're in the Whitchurch pub south of Bristol. The reason we've come here is because these wonderful volunteers here, morning, in fine voice to the Marmalade Trust, will be feeding 60 people tomorrow in 3 different locations across Bristol. There will of course be this type of thing happening right across the UK, helping, volunteering, feeding people who otherwise would be facing Christmas on their own. I went to a similar, very special meal earlier on this week. Being entertained by Jack and the Beanstalk today are the members of the Monday Club. Every week, older people from the local community come here to the Southville Centre in Bristol. And as it's Christmas, it's panto time.
Oh no, he isn't!
Next up, it's Christmas lunch. Turkey with all the trimmings, of course. But perhaps the most important ingredient today is friendship. Margaret is one of the regular volunteers.
Enjoy helping people and talking to people. You know, my day's made if I can make somebody laugh.
Really?
Yeah, I love making people laugh.
Many of the people here live alone, and this time of year can prove especially difficult.
Well, I suppose it's because people talking about family, people getting together, those sorts of things, presents and all that tradition. And obviously if you're left out of that, I mean, some people are quite happy perhaps to be left out of some of it, but if you're left out of it against your will, I guess it emphasises your social isolation.
Loneliness can be a killer. So here, there's the chance to meet, to talk, and for people to enjoy themselves. And it's not just those being looked after who benefit. Melissa's a student at Bristol University and comes here every Monday to help out.
I really always leave the day feeling really happy and a lot kind of more positive about everything. Hopefully when I'm older as well, I can be looked after like everyone looks after the group members here. So.
And there will of course always be a demand for neighbours, for friends, to tackle isolation through social interaction. As our population ages, the challenge is not only to have a longer life, but to live a better life. And that challenge is being taken up, as I say, right across the UK, but also by people here in Bristol. We're going to talk to Celia Phipps. Good morning, Celia. You talked to me the other day about this, you call it reaching in to people's lives. Just explain to me what that means and how you do it.
Well, at the Southville Centre, we very much like to think of ourselves as part of the community and reaching to those people who might not be so easy to reach, but really to encourage a sense of citizenship and neighbourliness. Whether it be in your local street, you know, knocking on doors and getting to know people and meet people, kind of how we used to be. That's what people used to say. We used to do this, and actually we should get back to doing that. So knowing who's living in your local street. We link very much with all sorts of other people, like playing out. And when they play out, we make sure that older people know that that's happening and they can participate. It's very much about staying connected and being part of your local community.
Building
it's very,
that community.
very important. Yes,
that's the key word, isn't it? Steve Franks, I know that you've done a lot of work. You've looked at loneliness, especially in older age. How do we tackle that problem? How do we combat it?
Well, our project is looking at people who are struggling with loneliness, interviewing them and finding out what their need is, so to speak. And from that, we want to try and help the people in the local area and get activities which will help them.
Yeah, OK. Jenny, you're very keen that this is a Christmas message that we're talking about this morning, but you want this type of behaviour to carry on right across the year.
Absolutely. Friends of the Elderly is delighted to be working with such a project as going on here in Bristol. But we need volunteers, we need people to be doing this every day of the year. There are supposedly 500,000 older people who will be alone tomorrow on Christmas Day, and that cannot happen again next year. So if you're looking on and you want some help, or if you'd like to volunteer, please do get back to us on www.foti.org.uk, and we would love to hear from you.
Yes, people will find it. I'm sure it's gone very quiet here all of a sudden. We'll have the choir back on in a moment, don't worry. But just want to talk to a couple of people who will be enjoying lunch tomorrow. Jill, you came last year. You're back tomorrow. What was it like last year?
It was marvellous.
Was it?
It was amazing, and all due to Amy, really, and she's like a magnet. She gets all these people together to form the Marmalade Trust.
Yeah.
And all for our benefit, and it's wonderful, wonderful, and we do appreciate it.
Great stuff. Really something to look forward to. Reg, I know you went last year, you're back again tomorrow. It's something that you then look forward to earlier on in the year?
Yeah, because it's brilliant. And Amy, she does a marvellous job. So it's something to look forward to.
We met Amy earlier on today, if you're wondering who this wonderful Amy is that everybody's talking about. There she is sitting there, blushing away, Amy Perrin, who started up the Marmalade Trust a couple of years ago. And Sophia, you're new tomorrow. Looking forward to it?
That's right, I'm very much a new girl. I only just heard about it, and it's just such a wonderful idea to have this, and we just need to have the courage to reach out and ask. And here we are, invited to this thing, so it's wonderful.
Yeah, great. I mean, what would you have done otherwise?
Been on my own, and I haven't bothered to decorate the flat or do anything, just because sometimes you just don't feel you want to be bothered. But no, it's lovely.
Well, Merry Christmas to you all. Quick word, I think we've got time to some of the volunteers. Joe and Joel, a bit like Ant and Dec, I can't remember which is which. You're Joel, aren't you? Joel, you've been volunteering. I think you brought your kids along last year, didn't you?
I brought my kids along last year. We had a really good time. One of the important things is to bring people to the event, and they still talk about it now, the friends they met on that day. It was really good.
And Joe, you get something out of it too, don't you, as a volunteer?
I do, yes. I think everybody suffers from loneliness and people don't really like to talk about it. And so it's very nice to be able to do something about that and try and make an effort with people, because if we all just do a little bit, it really helps, and it helps everybody who's feeling lonely on Christmas and for the rest of the year.
Great. Fantastic work that the Marmalade Trust and other organisations like it do across the UK.
John, the spirit there is amazing, and we're really pleased. It's nice to hear some lovely stories come through. But John, we're talking about what we actually have for Christmas dinner. We've had an argument all morning off air among the team. Christmas pudding, to Christmas pudding or not to Christmas pudding? Which side are you on?
Flaming Christmas pudding every time.
Man.
Every single year.
He's with me. I've got one on my side. John, that's great.
The reason we're talking about this is because the reports this morning...
What were you going to point at, John?
Sorry. I think we're going to give you a little bit more of the choir.
Yeah,
We've got time.
Keep us in the festive spirit. Brilliant.
Why not?
Brilliant.
David, take it away.
Bring us some figgy pudding.
That was the line.
But do you want it? That's the question.
No, I don't.